Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm here joined by producer Liesette Bailey, as usual. Hey, Liesette.
Hey everyone.
And our co host Gary Farmer is, of course, a very popular actor, so he's either shooting or working on something today. I can't remember exactly. But we're joined for the hour by New Mexico filmmaker Nathan Hollis. Hey, Nathan.
Hello, how are you?
And so we're going to read the news, and then we'll get to talking with Nathan. But Nathan's going to stick around while we do the news, and if he wants to say anything, he's going to just chime in. This first story is from Variety. Can movies like F9, Black Widow, and more lure people back to theaters? In the past 8 Fast and the Furious installments, Vin Diesel has defied gravity and the rules of the road as street racer Don Toretto. But his next lap may prove to be his most arduous. Can he help restore a sense of normalcy to the movie theater business?
Can I just say I love Fast and the Furious. I love all the series. I never watched it until the pandemic. And then I was like, I gotta watch movies that are just gonna be nice and chill. I watched all of the Fast and the Furious movies in a row. Incredible. Can't wait for Fast 9.
I loved Tokyo Drift.
Oh, Tokyo Drift is wonderful. How can you not? Lil Bow Wow is where it's at, Drives a Hulk car. How can you go wrong there?
And so, yeah, I think this article is kind of seeing if the blockbusters can make millions and millions of dollars here and overseas. Black Widow starring Scarlett Johansson's one of them.
I don't know if I'm excited about the movie theaters opening back up. I haven't been yet, but I'm going on Monday. And I would think that most people that, love movies, they're all excited too, right?
Yeah, what'd you go see?
Oh, no, I'm going on Monday. I'm going on
What are
Monday.
you gonna go see on Monday?
I'm seeing Terminator 2.
Oh.
It's not a new one, but I can't wait.
Ah.
But when Fast 9 hits, I'm going to be seeing Fast 9 for sure. I don't know about Black Widow, but I have nothing to base that on. I haven't seen any of those movies, but Fast 9, I'm in.
You're convinced it's gonna save the movie theaters?
I think that if any movie can do it, if anybody can do it, it's Vin Diesel.
So this next story, also from Variety, French cinemas reopen with full screenings. After a 6-month shutdown, French cinemas opened May 19th with a bang. In spite of a 35% cap and a 9 p.m. curfew, as many as 305,000 admissions were sold, scoring the best reopening day for cinemas in Europe, according to ComScore France.
That makes sense. Cinema in France.
Thank God for the French.
Oh my gosh. And it's incredible. I got to spend a decent amount of time in France, and literally it's so wonderful to like wake up and, look to see what's playing. And it's just like, I can see all sorts of films just from any era and, and 35 and all sorts of things. It's such a beautiful thing. I wish we had more of that here.
Next, from the Hollywood Reporter, film producers unionize amid low wages. A group that's been organizing fiction film producers for nearly 2 years in response to the seismic industry shifts and a global pandemic is officially launching a union. Led by It Follows producer Rebecca Green, and other veteran indie producers are backing it. The producers union seeks to establish salary minimums and pension and health care plans for fiction feature film producers. Well, that's good news for you, Nathan.
Yeah, that's good news. That's great news. I can't wait to be a part of it.
Yeah, they say that the majority, or a little bit under, about 41% of respondents of a survey that they did called Dear Producer make less than $25,000 or less for producing in 2019. And
Right.
in 2020, it jumped to 56%. So, and 80% deferring their fees on the project. And so this is different than the Producers Guild. So it's something that you can be part of in addition to the Producers Guild.
That's awesome.
Thanks for clearing that up. Next story is also from Hollywood Reporter. It's about the Tribeca Film Festival. They've set Steven Soderbergh's No Sudden Move as their centerpiece film. It's a crime drama from HBO Max and Warner Brothers. And I mean, I really am a fan of Soderbergh since Sex, Lies, and Videotape. And I'm hoping to see something big from him. I know there were kind of mixed reviews about his production of the award ceremony recently.
Which award ceremony did he do?
The Oscars.
Did he do the Oscars? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow, good for Steven. I mean, I don't know him. I'm just guessing that. That's what
Yeah,
everyone calls him.
it says a little bit more here.
That's what his friends call him.
Yeah, I call him Steve.
Yeah, about No Sudden Move. It's a script by Ed Solomon, stars Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, Ray Liotta, among others.
Can't go wrong with that cast. That's incredible.
And yeah, it's set to debut on HBO Max July 1st.
I can't wait. Steven Soderbergh is always so interesting to me. And you know, he does some innovative things that you wouldn't think are innovative, like the iPhone movie that he did, which literally does not look like it's on an iPhone. I can't even remember the name of it though, which is embarrassing. But he's a great filmmaker. Love his work.
So next, we've got a Cher biopic in the works from Universal, from the Mamma Mia producers. The Hollywood Reporter says Cher is getting the biopic treatment thanks to Universal and Oscar winner Eric Roth. Roth is set to pen the screenplay for a feature film about the life and career of the multi-hyphenate entertainer whose decades-long career has spanned music, television, fashion, and film.
That sounds awesome.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Wait, who do you think is going to play Cher though?
Ooh.
Does it say?
I don't think they've cast it yet. I think they've just announced the film, but I don't know. Who would you like to see play Cher?
Well, look,
I mean,
if
it could be like 3 different actresses.
That's true. And if it's from the producers of Mamma Mia, I'm already going for Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is Cher. You can't go wrong, you know?
She does have range.
She does.
So this is a fun story. Cannes announces its 2021 festival safety protocols, and the fest will require masks but allow cocktails. That's quite a relief.
Yeah, I was worried. I was like, well, what about the cocktails?
It's not France without wine.
That's true. That's true. I'm excited. I'm glad Cannes is back. Did they announce if they're doing like the embassies or not?
I don't think they've announced that yet. With the cocktails, they're only outside. Cocktails are on a terrace. And then you have to have like a mask that filters like 90%. So no cloth mask there. It's
wow.
You two ran into each other in Cannes a couple of years ago. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a blast.
It was an incredible time. Were we sitting outside the night that dude did a backflip over the other guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so
awesome.
wild. Yeah. Yeah. Cannes is incredible.
That was really cool.
Yeah. That wasn't even a movie. That was just an enjoyable moment.
Parasite.
Oh, yeah.
that was just being in Cannes, drinking wine on a terrace.
Yeah, just enjoying.
As long as that part of Cannes is still there, I think it's got what it what people really want,
That's
movies
true.
and wine on terraces is
That's true. If they're just
it,
like, there's no embassies, and it's like, yeah, but people are doing backflips over one another. That's still
yeah.
happening.
Yeah, Jacques heading to Cannes this summer in July, and I was looking to see if the American embassy was open, but it didn't say anything. So I'm not sure if they've decided or not.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. Like when I was at Cannes, I was working for the American embassy, which is why I asked. But I needless to say, they didn't invite me back, so I haven't heard anything yet.
Well, I'm going to bring you guys back to earth here for the local news. This is from the Albuquerque Journal. Regal movie theaters reopen in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. 5 New Mexico Regal movie theaters have reopened. Albuquerque locations Cottonwood, High Ridge, and Windrock are on the list. Regal Santa Fe Place and Regal Santa Fe on Zaffarano are also slated to open. It includes a wide range of health and safety measures. The theater will provide masks to guests who arrive without one. The auditorium will be reduced to 50% capacity. And the reservation system will make it so you don't have anyone sitting next to you. So yeah, I'm happy some of those big movies are going to be playing at the Regal locations here, and I think that also means the IMAX in Albuquerque is opening. I know they've been closed for a year.
And I'm excited. Honestly, throughout the pandemic, that was one thing that I missed the most, was going to see movies. I have a projector in my home and I'm able to watch, movies on the projector, but it's nothing like the experience of going to the movies, watching movies with a stranger. It's wonderful. I can't wait.
Yeah, that collective experience really can't be beat.
No, not at all. So even if nobody's sitting next to me, that's fine.
So this next local story is from Variety. Army of the Dead, the VFX team, created zombie-infested Las Vegas in New Mexico. It premiered May 21st on Netflix and directed by Zack Snyder of the Justice League recut. And I think his wife co-directed it or co-produced it with him. And they decided to shoot in Atlantic City and Albuquerque, but to ensure realism, they needed to devise a digital map of the Vegas skyline that they could then replicate in VFX.
That's wild. That's beyond my film stuff. I don't ever get to do anything like that, I don't know what that kind of stuff means.
Yeah, hopefully blowing up a building and setting a skyline on fire and those type of things are on the plate for you with the upcoming projects.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's in the horizon, I'm like, I cannot wait to big explosions, all sorts of things.
So
I'm still using firecrackers.
This is from KOB. Film TV industry in Santa Fe hits pre-pandemic levels. We've been on track to have a record-breaking year this year, said Jen Labar-Topier, director of the Santa Fe Film Office. She joined Mayor Alan Weber during a webcast, no pun intended, Tuesday to talk about the industry. The Santa Fe Film Office, jointly funded by city and county, has brought in about $500,000 into the Santa Fe region since our conception. So since 2016, 2017.
Jacques, that's $500 million.
Oh, excuse me. Brought in $500 million to the Santa Fe region since 2016, 2017. So it's a big number, she said. It's money that stays in the local economy, spent at hotels, restaurants, and small businesses. The industry is showing no signs of slowing down. A city spokesperson said the goal is to one day expand Garson Studios into Santa Fe's Midtown campus. As it comes up with a new plan to redevelop the property, Labar-Tapia also says productions are ramping up. I've got 35 productions on my board right now, and that they're either coming here, or scheduled to be here in 2022. Santa Fe is already booked through 2022 with productions that are looking at coming here or already committed to being here, she said. Well, I think that's heartening, and um, I think having a Santa Fe film office really gives, say Soderbergh shows up in town like he did and wants to shoot a movie, it gives someone for him to interface with at that local office.
Yeah, I think it's great. Santa Fe Film Office?
Yeah, this is the Santa Fe film office. It's separate from the New Mexico film office.
Oh, nice. Wait, is the Santa Fe Film Office kind of a newer thing?
Relatively. 3-4 years ago? Yeah.
Shit,
I think 4 years ago. When did you join the film commission?
That was about
like 4 years ago?
4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, 16, I think.
So
5 years ago.
Yeah, so like in 2016, shortly after then it was created.
Oh man, I'm way behind. I'm sorry.
Okay. So he is an award-winning director. His film Harry Avis played at film festivals all over the country and international festivals as well. He's somebody who really takes filmmaking to heart, and really suffers for his craft, but beyond that, comes up with some amazing local pictures, and really works with the community and the other talents around him. This is Nathan Hollis. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Literally, when you started talking about this, I was like, he must not be talking about me. That's too kind.
So for our audience who's unfamiliar with you, why don't we start by talking about Harry Avis, and you can tell us what it took to make that movie. It's been about 5 or 6 years now, but in my opinion, let me just say, I think it's really brilliant. It's something that's a zero budget picture, but it shows your ability of the quality of your writing, and your ability to use your writing to fill in the blanks of not having millions and millions of dollars to make a movie. Plus, your comic timing, I think, is something that generally would take someone who's much more seasoned in filmmaking to achieve.
Wow,
So,
thank you.
You got it. So yeah, tell us about what it took to make it, and how it got made.
So I made Harry Avis. I was in a master's program in Scotland, is the Screen Academy Scotland, and our thesis films had to be 10 minutes long. We had 3 months to make them though, and so in that, deciding kind of at the beginning of the year, that I decided that I wanted to make a feature with that, film. So I started planning, and we ended up shooting it in 11 days. We had 11 days to shoot total. And so, yeah, I mean, the writing was literally it was thinking about what we could accomplish in those 11 days, how, we could utilize, but very small team. There were 13 of us. And yeah, we shot the film in 11 days, and we were able to kind of push forward and move on from there. And, made some incredible festivals, including the Santa Fe Independent Film Festival. Yeah, we won Audience Best Choice, which is wonderful. So thank you guys for letting us play.
So were you living in Santa Fe for a long time before that, or was that was that kind of happening around the same time that you moved here?
I kind of moved here completely separate. I went to school at Santa Fe University of Art and Design, RIP. But I went to school there, and then I moved to Scotland for my master's program, and then I got hired to teach at Santa Fe University of Art and Design, just kind of randomly after my master's program. And so I came back. Luckily, I was doing sound here as well. with my friend Tyler King, Big Bear. Shout out Big Bear. But Tyler was doing the sound on it, and so it made it kind of easy to keep kind of be back here. And so I've been back here for 8 years now. I, throughout the last 8 years, I've done a lot of traveling, but the pandemic's kind of put me back here, which has also just allowed me to make a new film as well. So, happy to be back in Santa Fe for full time.
Well, that's probably a good time for you to tell us about the new film and just the title of it and when we can expect it, maybe.
Sure. Title of it's Heatwaves, and the film itself kind of came about. I'm old enough now that I have friends with kids, and I have friends with kids that are like 10 and 12, which is terrifying in some ways. But I was talking to one of the 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds one time, and they told me that they hated movies. And when I asked them why, they were like, they're too long. Why would I go see a movie? And I go, I just have to go sit in the dark for an hour and a half. And it was gutting to me, but it made me realize too, like, this person has TikTok, they have Instagram, they have all these things that they're watching all the time, right? And it's just like flipping through channels. So the film is kind of developed off of, it's a found VHS tape. That's the premise of the film. And it's a lost episode of a famous TV show called Heatwaves. And so we kind of move in and out of the episode of Heatwaves, but just like a VHS tape, when you record something over and over, it loses its magnetic, strip. And so we've kind of used it to fade in and out of different genres, different kind of programs going on, which has been wonderful. I've been able to work with a lot of artists. I think we have around 40 artists who have made little pieces for it too. That once we slip out of the Heatwaves section, that we'll move into other artists' films. And yeah, so it's been a really exciting thing, and it's been a way to kind of get to work with a lot of artists throughout the pandemic, and kind of gather people from all over the world. So it's been a really exciting project to do.
Liesette, did you have a question before I want to get back to talk more about heat waves a little later. But we're still kind of talking about, I guess, your trajectory here in New Mexico and making Harry and Avis. And so was there a lot of support or help along the way? I imagine there were certain people who you connected with and that kind of catapulted the project.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working for film festivals as well for quite a while. Gotten to work at different festivals here. Jason was always helpful. Silverman, wonderful person, good friend. Paula Amanda was also very helpful. Paula was the head of the film program at Santa Fe University of Art and Design. So yeah, I mean, there were tons of people throughout New Mexico, really, that are really supportive and really there for the film, and really helpful in getting it out into the rest of the world. So, I'm very grateful to be from New Mexico. I feel like I'm very privileged in that sense, that it's like being from New Mexico and having so much film that's just here. It really gives people an opportunity to kind of make their work and get it out into the world a little bit more than say if I was, I don't know, living in Florida or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about Florida film, so but I'm assuming.
Were you able to?
I think that.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go, Jacques.
Were you able to get the New Mexico tax credit for it?
No, we didn't get the tax credit because we actually, the film or the money that we spent, we actually spent in Scotland. I think if we would have done, like I said, Tyler did the sound design, and I was lucky enough that Tyler did it pro bono for me. I don't think he does that anymore, just in case people are trying to call him. But we weren't able to spend any money here. But I have gotten the tax credit for certain films. We did the Debacle, the short film that played at the what is it, Court de Mesure in Cannes.
I'm familiar with the debacle. That's a good one.
Yeah. It also played the film festival as well. We were able to get tax credit with that, which was wonderful. We didn't spend tons of money on it, but we did spend a little bit of money. It's always good to have that 25% tax rebate.
Liesette, you had a question.
Oh, I was going to say, so, you've been here for 8 years. You've kind of created a little crew of, local filmmakers and people that kind of work on your films. I know like Bryce worked on the debacle with you. So how many of them are involved in Heatwaves? And
oh man, Bryce is actually he's the cinematographer for Heatwaves, which has been really wonderful. We've kept the crew really small, just because obviously it's pandemic. We need to be careful. So the crew is really small, but we have so many wonderful people that are working on the film that are all based here in New Mexico, including filmmakers that have made pieces for the film. And hopefully we'll just keep, continuing to do that. There's a ton of talented filmmakers here. And it's wonderful to get to be able to work with them. I just got to be in a project with one of Black Horse Lowe's films, who he did Fuckery with you guys last year.
Yeah.
At the film festival. And man, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to work on stuff like, and it was mostly green screen, but it was just tons of fun, tons of fun to get back out there and start filming stuff again. So lots of wonderful people, but yeah, most everyone that's been working on the film crew, even though it's small, they're all from New Mexico, and they're all, they're not necessarily just filmmakers as much as they are just incredible artists as well. So
I'm glad that you brought up Bryce Warren. He is a pretty intense dude. Are there any stories you can tell us about him, or kind of just tell the people listening at home a little bit about who Bryce is?
Bryce. Okay, I had this amazing experience with him the other day where I saw a meme. I feel like this describes Bryce to a T. I saw a meme and it was of a computer, and it was one of those like giant computer screens, like kind of wrap around. And it had a keyboard that was like glowing and bright and, all this stuff. And the meme said, ladies, if you go home with a man and this is what his computer setup looks like, run away. And I sent it to Bryce. I took a shot of it and sent it to Bryce, and he wrote me back and said, I have that keyboard, LOL. So that's Bryce to a T to me.
Oh, that's really funny, and I love how he misses the point entirely.
Yeah, he did not. He was just like, "Oh yeah, that keyboard, I got that."
The joke worked twice there.
Yeah, it very much cracked me up as soon as I got it back.
So he worked with you on the debacle. Is he also working with you on Heatwave?
Yeah, he is. He's the cinematographer on Heatwaves. And Bryce and I have been making movies together for a long time. The debacle was a funny thing because we actually, he and I were making shorts. We just called them Bryce and Nathan shorts, and we were making them just kind of in our spare time, which at the time neither one of us had very much of. So we were making them. They were just kind of these funny jokes to us. And at some point, they got enough views and things that people liked them, and we started getting people kind of being like, you should apply for film festivals with these. You should apply for film festivals. And we said, we're going to make one, and then we're going to apply for Cannes. And if we make Cannes, then we'll apply for film festivals, just kind of as this joke kind of thing. And then we applied, and we made the Court de Mesure, which is, it's the shorts that are played off to the side, but still, it was an incredible honor, and it made us laugh. And so at that point, we were like,
"This is the Court des Méritage at festival."
There you go, Court des Méritage. It helps if I knew what I played. Like, yeah, we were there.
I think that's what it's called. I may be confusing it with the type of wine.
It's possible. yeah, but it was a wonderful experience, and yeah, and so I always loved working with Bryce, and Bryce was actually one of my students first. That's how I met Bryce. I was teaching at the school, and he was a student there, and
That's the former Santa Fe University of Art and Design is the school?
yeah, and yeah, he was a student there, and he was. I also worked with him in the grip house, so he was kind of he was, I don't know, whatever like student management would be in the grip house, and I was working in the grip house too, and so I got to just kind of be around Bryce all the time. So then, yeah, just became friends too. So I'm glad I've got to make films with him throughout the years, and including during a pandemic. So,
Now, what about Deb French? She's a beautiful human being.
oh my God, I love Deb. She is one of my all-time favorite people. Just an incredible person. Should I tell you my favorite Deb story, which I don't know if it's good for radio? You guys know it, but it's my favorite story of all time. It's my favorite Deb story of all time. So, at some point, Deb had decided that I was single, and Deb decided that she was going to find me a partner that she was really going to love. And so I was at the CCA, and that year you guys had the ticketing system set up at the CCA. And you had some wonderful volunteers, including some people my age. And Deb was like, "Hey, let me go introduce you. Let me go, we're going to talk to these women, and, they're going to love you. They're going to love you." And so we went down, and, I was talking, and at some point I was talking to the people that Deb was trying to hook me up with. And Deb said, she like turned out of nowhere and she said, "Hey, Nathan, how's your chlamydia?" And I was like, "What? No." And I like turned to them and I was like, "No, I don't have chlamydia." And I had like I had at the time, I had candida, which she mixed up with chlamydia. And I was like standing there trying to explain to three women that I was just like, "I don't have chlamydia. I don't have, I've never had chlamydia. I don't know." And I was just like looking at Deb, just like, "What are you talking about? I don't have chlamydia." And she was like, "You have chlamydia." And I was like, "No, stop."
And did they seem convinced, or were they?
No, they did not. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those people ever again. They all kind of backed away slowly at that point. And I was like, "Yeah, good to meet you."
Well, God, I guess
Wonderful person. Wing women's skills are not up to maybe aren't
Oh my gosh.
perfect.
I know.
Everything else
Deb
about
is so
Deb
wonderful.
is perfect though.
Oh yeah, Deb is perfect. She is so wonderful.
Well, and
She brought me back a shirt one time from Amsterdam, and she was like, "I saw this shirt and I thought of you." And it was a naked woman sneaking into a window. And when she gave it to me, and she's like, "I thought of you." I was like, "What the hell do you think I'm doing? Like, what do you think of me? Why did you? Yeah, why did you see that?" And you're like, "Now, Nathan, that's Nathan right there." I was like, "Thank you."
do you guys want to say anything else about Deb French before we move on to Chris Briedenberg?
Oh my God, Christopher.
No, Deb's amazing. I mean, that's
Deb
I
is
think
ma-
that we're all.
You know what? Let me tell you one more story. I feel like I don't know, if you'll be able to use any of these because they're all just like ridiculous. But Deb, one time I was, I was at the CCA and I was working and I was just going, and we had an event. And so I was kind of running back and forth, and Deb came in and she was like, "Hey, do you have time, to chat for a second?" And I was like, "Actually, I really don't. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to set up for this event." And she said, "That's not a problem. Here, let me have your keys to your car." And I was like, "Okay, that's, whatever." And so I just gave Deb the keys to my car, and she came back in and she was just like, "Here's your keys." Didn't really say much. So we did the event. I kept running around, and then I, was exhausted, and I went home, and she sent me a text and was like, "Hey, have you looked in your trunk yet?" And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, how often do you think I look in my trunk? I don't know. I don't use my trunk very often. But she said, have you looked in your trunk yet? And I was like, no, I guess not. And I went over and I opened the trunk, and then this just like incredible waft of weed hit me in the face, first off. And I look in the trunk, and there is a bottle of whiskey, a bottle of absinthe, and a bag of weed just in the back of my trunk. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? And that was, you know, and Deb was just like, have fun. And I was like, this will kill me. What do you mean have fun? A bottle of absinthe and a bottle of whiskey.
Since you brought up working at the CCA, it reminded me of this really funny story you once told me, where it's during your premiere of Harry and Avis, and you're working during the fest at the CCA selling tickets to the screening of Harry and Avis at the CCA. And for those who haven't seen it, you're the star of the movie as well. It's big, you know, starts out with shots of you. And so it was kind of like you were the sheriff in the small town in the Bugs Bunny cartoon, where they're buying the ticket from you, going, is it good? Have you seen it? And you're going, yeah, it's pretty good.
I like it. I really like it. Yeah, I felt very, yeah, I was just like, I think it's a hell of a movie, really. I previewed it, and the star is quite sexy, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, it's better than Citizen Kane, really, or Paddington 2.
So, Chris Briedenberg, if you're listening, we haven't forgot about you.
Oh, Chris, I love Chris.
So, yeah, Chris is a wonderful projectionist. He's been the tech director for the Santa Fe Independent Film Fest for a number of years, and he's a guy who just loves projecting film. And I know you guys have become great friends over the years. Do you want to tell us any stories about him, or just comment on Chris Briedenberg in general?
There's a lot of stories. You know, Chris and I, you know, when I was at the CCA for 5-6 years, I was there as the associate director under Jason. And, you know, Chris and I became really good friends. We were there all the time. So one of my favorite stories about Chris is that one night we had to hang a projector in the art space in the tank garage. And it was like 4 a.m, and we were setting up scaffolding and things, and we had taken down the projector that was previously up that neither one of us had helped install, and it was also hanging by a screw, which I don't know, maybe you shouldn't say that because it was actually terrible. But we took it down, and we hung the other we hung the projector, and then we went to hang the screen, and we were exhausted, and of course we had a few beers, and we were trying to do this, you know, hang all this stuff, and we measured everything, and we hung the screen, and it was perfect. You know, we put the level on, and it was just like dead on, you know, and we were like, yes, we did it. So we left, and then came back the next day, and you know, one of our coworkers, she was just like, man, I can't believe you guys got this so, you know, so level and so perfect. And she was like, what did you guys do? And I was like, well, we just, you know, we did what we normally do. We just measured from the ground and measured up. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, why is that, you know, a thing? And she was like, well, look at the ground. And I looked at the ground, and it was all over the place. It was not level at all. So I don't know where we got our dimensions from. Like, I don't know how we were able to hang this thing so perfect, but whatever happened, we were like, we were able to get the job done. But I don't know where any of the measurements came from.
Yeah, I think that one cool thing that you and Chris, I mean, Chris is definitely like, he takes projection as an art form, you know, and I think that shows. One thing that people don't really realize is one of the things that they miss going to the movie theaters. Like you said, I have a projector at home, and you know, it's great. David Gill from Violet Crown talked about, you know, he does the same thing with his outdoor cinema, but kind of having a real projectionist behind there, really making sure that the film is playing correctly, really kind of
And Chris really is one of the most passionate projectionists of all time. He loves cinema, he loves presentation, He loves, for it to look perfect. And it really shows. And he loves cinema, and that's how he shows his love to cinema, is through his projection work. And I think oftentimes I think that, and I think there's a habit of filmmakers as well. I think once filmmakers make a movie, they go through the filmmaking process, and once they're done with the movie, they're kind of like, oh, well, that's it. We did the movie. But the next step is, playing it in cinemas, and oftentimes it takes a lot of work. Whether it be creating a DCP, if you shot on film, you have to have someone that knows how to project on film, and there's a real art form to it. And Chris is really good at talking people through all that and helping filmmakers make sure that their film plays, and they play in the perfect presentation of it. So really, really incredible. And I love that you guys, I will say it shows in the Santa Fe Independent too, because you guys always have incredible presentation. So
yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than when you go to a movie and you can't hardly hear it, or you can't hardly see it, and it's for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Now, oh, go ahead.
No, you can go, Sean.
I was just going to ask him how people can support Heatwave, if we want to get involved, if we want to make a donation to the project.
Yeah, if you want to make a donation, we've got a PayPal. We've got paypal.me/heatwavesthefilm. I'll say it again, paypal.me/heatwavesthefilm. It'd be wonderful, if we were able to raise a little bit more money. We're finishing out the filming in June, and so really excited to kind of wrap things up on this project. But it's been funded through people donating and people that love cinema. I'll say this: if you love art and if you love film, you'll love supporting this movie. And if you hate those things, then you'll probably also love supporting this movie.
Giving to art feels good.
Yeah, it feels incredible.
So, I mean, one thing that you've been really successful with your films is kind of taking them from the finished project and taking them into festival life. So kind of what are your release plans with Heatwaves, and will it mirror, how will it change what you did with Harry and Avis?
I think with Heatwaves, Heatwaves is a little bit more experimental than what Harry and Avis was. And so I think with Heatwaves, the plan is to try to release it in Cannes and try to release it overseas first. And then we'll actually come to the States, not because I have anything against film festivals here, but I think that a lot of times, especially with more experimental stuff, it tends to be more accepted, overseas. But I can't, I'm obviously we're going to apply for Santa Fe Independent. That'll be a big one on our list. And yeah, I mean, the film, it lends itself by having all the different artists involved in with their work. And so, after our festival run, we've talked about even just releasing it on YouTube and just putting it up so that everyone can see. This was like kind of a collaboration project between lots of artists. And so we want as many eyes on it as possible. So, but hopefully we get bought, who knows?
Yeah, and Harry and Avis, that's available for people to watch as well, correct?
It is. Yeah, it's on Vimeo. It's Harry and Avis. It's an ampersand instead of and. But it is on Vimeo. It's there to rent, cheap, $1.99. Incredible date movie, I would say. Or, an incredible lonely movie if you're just lonely at your home. Really, a movie you can watch with grandma. It's a movie that, friends gather around to watch quite a bit. I've watched it with my dog. I've watched it with someone else's cat. Really, Nathan, just an incredible movie to watch.
Can you tell us or tell the audience briefly just a synopsis of the film? It's they're camping. It's
Yeah, sure. So it's a couple that go camping, and it's a mumblecore movie. It was made in 2014, very timely. So they're very existential, very kind of in their own heads. It's a couple that go camping, and they try to kind of discover their relationship through camping, and then hilarity ensues. But that's basically the entirety of the film.
It's about kind of an anxious redheaded guy and his
Yeah.
love interest.
Yeah, he's very attractive, the redheaded guy. Yeah, he's so yeah. I mean, they go camping up in the Highlands, and like I said, they're trying to kind of figure out if they are right for each other, and the trip itself is the catalyst of trying to figure that out for their relationship.
And are you nude in the movie at all?
I'm not, but I am in the new one. So, and that's paypal.me at Heatwaves the film.
So the latest project is called Heatwaves, and you can support it on PayPal. This was Nathan Hollis, award-winning New Mexican filmmaker, and thanks so much for joining
Yeah.
us, man. That was a great,
Honestly,
fun
thanks
time.
for having me. And I'm no substitute for Gary Farmer, that's for sure, because Gary's incredible. But I'm incredibly happy to be on the show.
Oh, maybe briefly, it was so much fun to have that opening of your film at the CCA when Gary did the Q&A.
Yeah. That was a really fun night.
Yeah, is there anything you want to remind us about that before we say
God.
goodbye?
I will say the night's a little bit foggy for me. I tend to sometimes have a few drinks before a Q&A. Like some people do. That just relaxes. I don't know. But I will say, having been interviewed by Gary, that was such a wonderful experience. And Gary's such an incredible filmmaker. He's just an incredible talent, really. His band's incredible. I love him in Dead Man. Love him in Smoke Signals. So yeah, it was a real honor to be interviewed by Gary.
Well, you'll have to come back and play movie trivia with us.
Please.
This has been another episode of Film Talk Weekly. Thanks so much for coming. This was award-winning New Mexico filmmaker Nathan Hollis.
Thank you.